everybody, it's Ellen Weatherford.
And Christian Weatherford.
And we're back with your favorite animal review podcast, Just the Zoo of Us, where we take your favorite animals and we review them by rating them out of 10 in the categories of effectiveness, ingenuity, and aesthetics.
We're not zoological experts, but we put a lot of time and effort getting the highest of quality of sources for information.
It's been like almost 2 months since we've recorded a regular episode together, so pardon our rust.
Between Maximum Fun and also our every other guest episodes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, we did some fun stuff for Max Fun Drive, like we did a Q&A, we did a D&D. Any other like letters with an ampersand in the middle that we did? So we're recording stuff together that was a lot of fun, but we weren't doing regular episodes. But we're back.
Back at it.
Back to our regularly scheduled programming. And this week we have a really fun childhood video game double feature where we are tackling animals featured in some of our favorite childhood video games, which I'm really excited about. I have a lot to say about mine.
I don't know if I would classify mine as a favorite, personally.
Well,
iconic, yes.
Iconic, sure. Formative. Do you think that Crash Bandicoot shaped who you are today?
If so, at a very fundamental and early development level.
Set down some core memories.
Which I can talk more about that later.
Okay. Well, my animal this week, because I go first this time around, is the European hedgehog.
Very good.
Scientific name is Erinaceus europaeus. Hedgehogs they've been submitted quite a few times over the time that we've been doing this podcast, and this is our first time getting to them. And they have been requested by Sophie, Sydney Van Hull, and Ava Jones, my cousin.
Oh, yeah.
I actually got to meet Ava's hedgehog, which was really exciting.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I had a little bit of hands-on hedgehog experience, but a different species, which I'll talk about that in a second. I'm getting my information from a very charming website, Hedgehog Street, which is a conservation campaign that was launched by the People's Trust for Endangered Species and the British Hedgehog Preservation Society in 2011. So those two organizations together started this like hedgehog conservation campaign called Hedgehog Street. Also, I'm getting information from a website called Wildlife Online, which is an educational website about British wildlife. It is maintained and written by Mark Baldwin and has just like very thorough, like works cited and great website. So that's where I'm getting my information from on these little dudes. We don't have wild hedgehogs where we live.
When you say where we live, do you mean locally or continent-wise?
Yes, continent-wise. We don't have hedgehogs here at all.
Okay.
Or even really anything related to them. They're completely foreign to where we live. If you, like me, are not terribly familiar with hedgehogs, the European hedgehog is between 24 and 35 centimeters long, which is 9.5 inches to 14 inches. That's just the body. And that is like a foot long. That's way bigger than I thought it was, because the hedgehogs we're used to seeing are a different species that is much, much smaller. So I did not realize hedgehogs are actually way bigger than I thought they were.
Yeah, wow.
This one is actually the largest hedgehog species.
Okay.
So there's 17 different ones. This is the biggest one.
That's a lot.
That is a lot of hedgehogs. This species can be found throughout most of Europe, and they live in a lot of different types of habitats. They're kind of generalists, so you can find them in a lot of different spaces. They're also invasive in New Zealand.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I know. So they were introduced by British colonizers who brought hedgehogs over in the late 1800s. There are a lot of stories about like why they did this. And I kept seeing sources say that it was to remind them of home.
No. See, this is why I don't fly internationally, because they won't let me take an alligator from my backyard.
It's just not the same. Another explanation for this is for them to act as pest control because they're insectivores. So like I mentioned, there's 17 species of hedgehogs, but if you are an American listener, you are probably more likely to be familiar with the African pygmy hedgehog, or the four-toed hedgehog. Oh. So those hedgehogs are the ones that you most commonly find being kept as pets. So the ones that we have seen, I've seen them, working with pets and my cousin's having a pet hedgehog. It is the African pygmy hedgehog that is much, much smaller. They're also white, like their fur underneath is white, whereas the European hedgehog's fur is all like this brown color. Hedgehogs as a whole belong to this taxonomic family Erinaceidae, which they share with, I'd never heard of this creature before until I saw this, but they are apparently a close relative of hedgehogs. Moon rats. Moon rats. They're little critters. They live in Southeast Asia. They bear a striking resemblance to opossums. Like in the face, and then they also have that kind of like light gray or white color to them. I think they look a lot like opossums.
So we're talking about the North American with babies that cling.
Yes, our opossums, the moon rats, even though being not even a little bit related, they look a lot like opossums. But then some evolutionary relatives to the hedgehogs and the moon rats, their order that they're in also contains moles and shrews.
Okay.
So none of those things are rodents. Hedgehogs, moon rats, moles, shrews, not rodents. They're in their own order completely.
Okay. So we've been in this order before then.
Yes, with the golden mole. Yeah. That was a cool one. So yeah, that's what their relatives are. I guess I always thought they were rodents, but no.
Would make sense.
Yeah. Here's a little fun fact about the name hedgehog. They were originally called urchins in English.
Yes.
So sea urchins were named after them because they're spiky like a little hedgehog. But then over time, the name urchin was replaced by the nickname hedgehog. And then they stopped calling hedgehogs urchins, and now sea urchins are now just called urchins.
I wonder where that lines up with the word urchin being used as a pejorative. Is that the right word?
Yeah, as like a derogatory term for like a kid on the street.
Right. I wonder where that lines up.
It's the same sort of etymology for each.
Okay.
But the word urchin originally meant a hedgehog.
Neat.
Yeah. I like taking little tours of etymology. To get into our ratings for the hedgehog, which if this is your first time listening to this program, we review animals by rating them out of 10. And the first category we rate is effectiveness, which are physical adaptations that let the animal do a good job of the things it is trying to do. And I'm giving the hedgehog an 8 out of 10.
That's pretty good.
It's good. It's not the best we've ever had, but there's some things that they got going on. So first of all, they're generalists. So like I said, like they can live in a wide variety of places. They do really well in urban areas, which is very useful for an animal that lives in an area like Europe that is like heavily populated and with like dense human populations. It helps to thrive in that sort of environment for them. So they're really flexible, and they live really well in people's gardens and yards and stuff like that. So you'll see them like scurrying around in people's yards. And from what I could tell, it seemed to me like they're a very welcome presence in people's gardens because they are insectivores.
Okay.
So they eat bugs and all sorts of little invertebrates, basically. And I think that they have a reputation for being basically like natural pest control. So people welcome them into their gardens. And they're also cute on top of that.
I guess I assumed by generalist it would mean it would also go for like flowers and vegetables and fruits, which would lead them to be seen as a pest, maybe, but maybe that's not the case.
I think when I say generalist, I really mean more like habitat-wise.
Okay.
But it seemed to me like all of the accounts that I could find were of people that seemed generally pro-hedgehog. It's not like, I feel like in our neck of the woods, basically, people tend to find any sort of garden dweller as a pest, really. You know, we've got like opossums that fill sort of a similar ecological niche. People don't like to have them around, and so they, assume that they are pests. I guess I was a little surprised to find that people seem to be so fond of their hedgehogs. Seemed like they're welcome little visitors.
Well, that's good.
So The most noticeable thing about hedgehogs right off the bat is their spines. Their whole backside is covered in these modified hair structures. So they're made of keratin, just like human hair and nails and all that sort of thing. And just like human hair, their spines fall out and grow back like throughout their life. It's like a normal thing. They just fall out and then it's not that big a deal. So their spines are these modified hairs, which is similar to the porcupine, which we've talked about, having these sort of sharp, pointy protrusions of hair. But unlike the porcupines, the hedgehog spines are much, much shorter and they're extremely stiff. They're like little needles. Like anybody who's ever like pet a hedgehog's back knows they're extremely stiff, right? Totally rigid. And also they don't really like being pet that much. So they do kind of like tense up. Like sometimes when they're like calm and relaxed, they can lay down their spines and then they're a little more like malleable, but it's still not fun to pet. It's not exactly soft, but they're extremely sharp, very, very sharp, like little needles all over their back. So that's very helpful in protecting them as just a little guy. Here's something funny. In medieval times, way back when, people thought that hedgehogs carried fruit around with them by rolling around and like picking fruit up on their spines. And then like just waddling around with like berries like impaled on their backs and stuff.
That's a very nice thought.
It is. It's really cute. I wish it was true. It's just probably not.
Do they roll?
I mean, okay, so they roll up into a ball to like protect their face and their belly and stuff like that. But then they don't have
Continue
any like
rolling.
Right. It's not like a forward motion, right? Yeah. It's just they roll up and they stay there.
Okay.
They're not like propelling themselves forward and rolling at the same time.
Okay.
You would probably assume that because of Sonic the Hedgehog, who does attack by doing that.
I'm personally not assuming anything about Sonic represents real hedgehogs. That's just me, though.
It's really just the spines, and that's it. The spines are where the similarities between Sonic and an actual hedgehog begin and end.
Are you telling me they don't wear little red sneakers?
I mean, if they made them tiny enough for their little paws, maybe they might. So the thing about their spines, and this is something that I always think about when I see some sort of animal that has a defense mechanism that involves something pointy being built onto their body, I like to think about how are they born?
Yes.
Because I really worry for their mothers that have to birth them. So when hedgehog babies, which are called hoglets, by the way, when baby hedgehoglets are born, their spines are there, but they're covered by like a thin layer of skin. So where you can see them underneath, but they haven't like fully poked through the skin yet. So you're seeing this like little baby hedgehog with little spines that are like just barely underneath the surface of the skin. This
is making me think of ingrown hairs, and it
does kind of look
uncomfortable.
It does look like ingrown hairs. But just all over their entire body. Yeah. Apparently, like, they grow through really, really quickly. I think it's a sort of thing where that layer of skin very quickly, like, shrivels up after they're born. It's basically like a sheath, right, around them that very quickly goes away.
Which makes sense, because you hear about this with hooved animals and them being born, because they have, like, a protective, what do they call them, fairy fingers on their ribs?
It's gross.
Yeah.
Don't look up pictures of it. It's horrible. But so, yeah, it's a little uncomfortable to look at. And my biggest concern, I don't know if they can feel the spines like emerging through their skin, but I really hope not, because that would probably feel like teething, but like all over your entire body.
That's true. Or maybe it's a Wolverine type thing.
I hope not. Gosh, that would not be fun at all. So hedgehogs famously roll into tight little balls so that they can use those spines to protect their vulnerable parts. But what's kind of cool about this is that when they are rolled up into a ball, their spines like point in different directions. They don't all go in one direction. Like their spines kind of go all jagged and they point in like every direction so that they're getting full coverage, right? There's no like, you can't come at it from one direction and not be poked by the spines,
right? Which
is a good idea. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And here's another point that I gave them for effectiveness. Hedgehog blood plasma neutralizes the effect of venom from the European viper.
Oh.
Yeah. They do have that going for them where they're prepared against European vipers, at least. Now, that being said, hedgehogs do have a hard counter, and that is the owl.
Okay.
So both hedgehogs and owls are nocturnal.
All right.
So they're both out and active at night, which means they're crossing paths. So when the hedgehog is like out of their burrow and walking around, that is prime owl hunting time. And owls are silent. So they're able to essentially sneak up on hedgehogs. So they're able to swoop down without being picked up. The hedgehog has horrible eyesight. The hedgehog absolutely cannot see this owl coming. Hedgehogs rely more on hearing than eyesight, and owls are extremely good at not being heard.
Right.
So owls are great at sneaking up on hedgehogs. They're so fast that the hedgehog doesn't have time to curl up into a ball. And the owl also has talons that are really, really long and often longer than the spines. So the owl's talons are usually long enough that it can pick up the hedgehog no problem.
And these are the big ones, too, like the big hedgehogs.
But big owls also.
Yeah.
There's like an eagle owl that lives in this area that's like absolutely enormous, like big, big guys.
Okay.
So they're not incredibly effective against owls, so that is a major predator for them. I'm also, I docked an effectiveness point for how horribly menaced they are by owls, but I'm also taking off one by the fact that they're very slow. Contrary to what Sonic would have you believe, they do not gotta go fast at all.
Cannot go fast.
They cannot go fast. They just waddle everywhere. I mean, this kind of makes sense for an animal whose defense mechanism is to kind of turtle, right? Like they just hunker down where they're at, right? Like fleeing is that's not really the highest priority item on their like line of defense. Fight, flight, or I don't even know, like fortress. So fleeing isn't super important to them, so they're just not fast at all. They really just kind of waddle around and not very agile creatures at all. So I did have to dock for that.
That's unfortunate.
And also the fact that like they don't see very well, even though they're nocturnal. Like some nocturnal animals will make up for the low light conditions. Like just last week we talked about owl monkeys, which have like maximized the amount of eyeball that they have available to them so they can actually see pretty well in darkness. But hedgehogs have not bothered. They've just decided that not being able to see is just fine with them.
Okay.
So some notes for the hedgehog, but otherwise, high defense. This is maybe a little bit of a tank among little critters. So the next category for the hedgehog is ingenuity, which, if this is your first time listening, is behavioral adaptation. So things the animal is doing with their body to solve problems that they encounter throughout their life. I'm giving the hedgehog what I consider to be an extremely generous 5 out of 10.
Okay.
Based on what I've seen. They're solitary creatures. They really don't prefer to socialize with each other. Even courtship between hedgehogs is not exactly cordial. It's the opposite of romantic.
I mean, it's most likely unpleasant for both parties.
It really is. So it usually involves the male hedgehog aggressively pursuing a female, where he will chase her, he will run in circles around her, making these really unpleasant vocalizations. It's usually like grunting and hissing and like these like chuffing sounds. So he's really like being very loud and whiny about it, basically. So this draws the attention of other males who are like, oh, he's going nuts. There must be a female over there. So they come over and they fight over the female. So they're like tumbling around and making a big fuss, making a huge ruckus. A lot of times the female just walks away while they're doing this. Like they're doing their own thing, having a wrestle, and the female will be like, y'all have fun, and turn and walk away. I saw a lot of like threads online of people complaining about noise coming from their yards at night that was like waking them up in the middle of the night. And it was hedgehogs during mating season.
Oh boy.
Yes, apparently they're quite spirited. And so when they do successfully court a partner and mate, they do so in what I'm going to strategically describe as a manner resembling the way that dogs, for example, mate.
Okay.
Which seems to me like the entirely wrong way to go about mating with a partner whose entire backside is covered in needles. Like, find a different position. Go any other way.
Well, any other thing would be exposing too much vulnerability.
I get, but I mean, this doesn't seem like it's the sort of situation where they're going to be in that position for very long. So, like, weigh your options, right?
Just dunking on them.
I know. Just doesn't seem optimized to me. So once the hedgehoglets are born, Mama Hedgehog very well might abandon or even eat the babies after they're born if she feels like she's threatened or she really needs to. And hoglets only stay with their mom for about 10 days before going off on their own. So this is a rapid turnaround time on these little guys.
So what's that lifespan?
Not a lot. She's just over them. Huh. She's just done with them. She's like, all right, that's enough. We're done here. Please be on your way. So rapid turnaround time. The only real thing that I gave them ingenuity points for was this interesting behavior that they have called self-anointing. Have you ever heard of this?
Maybe.
So self-anointing is this thing that many species of hedgehogs do. So people who own, like I mentioned, the African pygmy hedgehogs will sometimes see them do this behavior too. What happens, it can be very alarming if you don't know what this is at first and you just see them doing it. They foam at the mouth. So they create this like bubbly foam around their mouth and then they lick their spines and kind of like spread that foamy saliva all over their body.
Huh.
Yeah. Kind of like they're like grooming themselves. It's not like 100% known why they do this exactly, but there are a few possible explanations for this behavior. One of them being it is scent marking. So they're spreading their scent all over their body to try to like leave more of their scent behind for other hedgehogs, because scent is a huge way that they're able to like navigate and perceive their environment, but also they're solitary and don't like to be around each other. So the idea is that if they like leave their scent around more, it will keep other hedgehogs out of their territory. I mean, I think that might serve a negative effect if you are also leaving a trail of breadcrumbs behind you for predators like foxes, right? That are like extremely receptive to smell. So now you've just like left a glowing runway behind you, like hedgehog this way. Another possible explanation for this self-anointing behavior is that hedgehogs can eat some prey like frogs, toads, and newts that are like mildly poisonous.
Okay.
So their prey might be leaving behind this sort of like toxic residue in their mouth, and then they might be trying to spread that poison onto their spines. So it might be trying to like heighten their defenses, basically, like adding poison damage on top of the piercing damage that they've already got. Or make themselves taste bad, right?
That's
like,
true.
You know, maybe they are spiky, but they also want to taste bad so that if something does try to, you know, eat them anyway, then it'll also be greeted with a
negative mouthfeel and a negative taste.
Yes. So, yeah, I mean, like, as far as ingenuity goes, I saw a lot of, like, hedgehog owners complaining about their hedgehogs doing not particularly bright things, like running off of surfaces, or, like, they'll, like, run off of, like, the edge of a table and fall, or run into walls, or, like, failing to recognize their owner and, like, always react to them as a threat. I think some of these may be attributed to the hedgehog just having horrible eyesight. Like, they just cannot see, right? Like, naturally, they're going to run off of stuff and have a hard time navigating an environment like that if they just can't see. They're not really good at like learning things or figuring things out. It's just head empty. Nothing going on behind those sweet little eyes. It's just pure vibes only. So that's why I give them a 5 out of 10 for ingenuity. The final category for hedgehogs is aesthetics. I'm giving the European hedgehog a 7 out of 10 for aesthetics. Hedgehogs by nature are pretty cute. They have a cute little snout nose, which is adorable. This particular species of hedgehog is not nearly as cute as the African pygmy hedgehog, which is teeny tiny and looks like a little fairy. It looks like Shaman, the Pokemon, which looks like a little like bush with flowers on it and stuff. Yeah. I think that I might find them cuter if I wasn't already accustomed to the cuter hedgehog. If the African pygmy hedgehog hadn't been the one that I was already used to, I may have found the European hedgehog to be cuter. So
makes sense.
That's my hot take. To wrap things up for the European hedgehog, their conservation status is overall least concern, but in Britain specifically, their populations have been declining, especially since the beginning of the 2000s. They seem to be stable in urban areas because they really thrive on like abundant food source, lots of shelter opportunities. But in rural areas, their populations are still like steeply declining, which has led to, you know, these initiatives, like I mentioned earlier, like Hedgehog Street, of people trying to like make their gardens more friendly to hedgehogs and make their like natural spaces more hedgehog friendly and stuff.
Are they sensitive to pesticides and such?
I would imagine so. Well, and also like pesticides would also, not just the chemicals themselves being bad for the hedgehogs, but also a decline in insect populations would then mean they don't have enough food to eat. So yeah, like a cascading effect would definitely affect hedgehogs. Just to wrap up, final thing about hedgehogs is I do want to talk about Sonic the Hedgehog, because I grew up playing just an inordinate amount of Sonic the Hedgehog, particularly Sonic Adventure 2, but also many other Sonic games that I had over the course of my childhood. And so I wanted to look into how the real world hedgehog became Sonic the Hedgehog. Because you look at Sonic the Hedgehog, and honestly, if I knew nothing about Sonic the Hedgehog and you showed me a picture of him and said, "What animal is this?" I don't think I would come to hedgehog as a conclusion.
No.
It would take me a while. He doesn't look anything like a hedgehog.
I wouldn't even assume it's supposed to be based off anything in reality.
Right. Like he looks like just like a made up, like a Yoshi or something like that. Like it's just, this is nothing. So I was curious as to why they even chose a hedgehog in the first place. So I found a really interesting article. This is from Polygon.com. The title is The Origins of Sonic the Hedgehog, and this was by Michael McWhirter. This article quoted Sonic's creator, Naoto Oshima, who described at the 2018 Game Designers Conference that basically Sega wanted their own like iconic mascot character to rival like Mario, basically. Right. Nintendo had Mario at this time. This was in like 1990, so Pikachu was not a thing yet.
Right.
But they had Mario, and Sega wanted their own Mario, basically. And so they drafted some ideas, one including an armadillo, a dog, and an old man with a mustache.
Okay.
Which I guess apparently they ended up using as the design for Dr. Robotnik.
Oh.
So he was originally going to be like Sonic. And then they relegated him to antagonist. So they came up with a bunch of designs and apparently polled strangers walking by in Central Park. Like they took their designs to Central Park and like asked strangers walking by which design they liked best.
Huh.
Yeah, and I guess they liked the hedgehog the most.
Okay.
And the reason that they included the hedgehog in like the design drafts was because they wanted this character that they were going to like have in video games, right? So he needed to have some way to like attack enemies. And their idea for him was that like a hedgehog, he could roll up into a spiky ball like a hedgehog does and then roll forward to attack enemies. Now, where the whole like theme of speed and going fast came from must have been somewhere else because it does not originate with the hedgehog.
I bet that was an outcome of the technology.
Right.
Because it was like a side-scroller type game at first. So that lends itself to a fast-paced, like...
Right. Like so much of those games is...
Yeah.
It's all focused on like speed and how quickly you like maneuver through the environment and stuff. So... I guess that was more gameplay inspired than it was animal inspired. So, I mean, I always think like, oh man, wouldn't it be fun to talk about like some of the real world animal stuff you can, because I love to do this with Pokemon, right? Like there's so much real world zoology incorporated into Pokemon designs and stuff. So I always think about, oh, I want to do that for some of the Sonic animals. Y'all, it is purely aesthetic. It is nothing. There is no zoology in the Sonic the Hedgehog series whatsoever. There's nothing there.
I like what they did with the spines in the Sonic movie, though. The recent Sonic movie.
Okay, we haven't seen Sonic the Hedgehog 2, but the Sonic the Hedgehog movie was pretty cute.
Yeah.
I will say, the ugly Sonic design did more closely resemble an actual hedgehog.
It did.
for the worse. I do not think that would have been a good move.
It's the constant battle in games of realism versus gameplay.
In this case, I'm glad they threw realism out the window because it had no place there. That's the hedgehog.
Well, thanks, honey.
Thank you. Let's take a quick break to hear some promos for our friends on the Max Fun Network, and then we'll get to your animal.
Hi, I'm Jesse Thorne, America's radio sweetheart.
And I'm Jordan Morris, boy detective.
Our comedy podcast, Jordan Jesse Go, just celebrated its 15th anniversary.
It was a couple months ago, but we forgot.
Yeah, completely. Our silly show is 15 years old. That makes it old enough to get its learner's permit.
And almost old enough to get the talk.
Wow, I hope you got the talk before then. A lot of things have changed in 15 years. Our show's not one of them.
We're never changing, and you can't make us.
Jordan Jesse Go, the same forever at MaximumFun.org or wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm going first. It's me, Jackie Cation.
Man, she's always this bossy. Hi, I'm Lori Kilmartin. We're a bunch of stand-up comics, and we've been doing comedy like 60 years total with both of us, but we look amazing. And,
working out. We drop every Monday on Max Fun, and it's called The Jackie Laurie Show, and you could listen to it and learn about comedy and learn about anger management and all the things.
And Jackie is married but childless, and I'm unmarried but childful. So together we make one complete woman.
Is that just what that one's gonna end?
Yeah. And we try to make Kyle laugh just like that and say, oh my God, every episode.
It's a good job.
Jackie and Laurie Show, Mondays, only on Maximum Fun.
So, baby, what animal are you talking about this week?
So the video game contender to Sonic that we chose is...
Please don't call him a contender to Sonic. He wishes.
All I'm going to say is which brand is still making consoles.
Okay, well.
Anyway. Usurper of Throne, Crash Bandicoot.
Okay. I was clearly not a Crash Bandicoot kid.
Yes.
What system was Crash Bandicoot on?
Crash Bandicoot started as an exclusive to the Sony PlayStation. That is the first PlayStation. So, history-wise, Sony wanted their own mascot character for the brand, much to contend with Sega and Sonic, as well as Mario and Nintendo, but also Warner Brothers and Taz, which is a Tasmanian devil.
Okay. It has been at least 10 years since a thought crossed my mind about the Tasmanian devil character.
Yeah, so it's a Looney Tunes thing. So this was in the mid to late 90s that this was created. And by that
all
time,
coming together.
People were a little iffy on the need for mascots anymore in terms of the video game sphere. The idea was their player base was getting older by then and wasn't so interested in it. Although they still had younger generations coming up behind them.
Right.
So that's where I was at. So I was a young child during the mid and late 90s.
Prime Crash Bandicoot demographic.
Yes. So specifically, Crash Bandicoot was based off of the Eastern Bard Bandicoot, Parameles Gunny, Gunnii.
I was thrilled. It had to have been less than 3 years ago to find out that the Bandicoot is a real animal.
Yes.
I thought it was something they made up for the game.
Same. So I looked into it a little bit. Early designs actually had him as a wallaby.
Okay.
Because they were specifically looking for animals that not everyone on a global scale had heard of.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah. They were looking a lot at the island of Tasmania.
Sure.
A couple different animals that live there.
Okay, good choice.
Yeah.
Good choice.
So Crash's original design included a long tail with a little fluffy thing at the end.
Aw.
They scrapped it because of a technology limitation with the PlayStation graphics.
You hate to see it. They couldn't render his tail.
Well, it's because things that small would flash in and out, basically,
Okay.
because of your limitation of polygons and such.
Sure, it's a clipping issue. Listen, that never stopped Bethesda.
So that whole history is pretty interesting. So this species of bandicoot was submitted by Finn from Sweden via his mother Mia on our Facebook group,
Thank you.
as well as Cat Hughes via email.
Thank you, Kat.
And a couple of years ago, generally speaking, the bandicoot, not specifically this species, was requested by Bo Rauch and Dustin Barnett.
Thanks, y'all.
Yes.
It's been in high demand. We've been working on the bandicoot. Don't worry. It's been on our radar.
And I'm pulling information from Animal Diversity Web, as well as Zoos Victoria, which is found at zoo.org.au.
My question for you.
Yes.
Was Crash Bandicoot developed by American
Yes.
designers?
It was.
Was this maybe around the time of like Steve Irwin and Crocodile Dundee? Like a time when I feel like American pop culture had a lot of like Australian wildlife themes in it.
It was that time period, but I didn't read anything that kind of cited it directly.
Okay. I'm just wondering like what would have made them think to like use an Australian animal for their IP, I guess.
They wanted something that was not very, very well known, just to kind of compete
Sure.
with those other ones that are in similar veins at the time, at least.
Sure.
And they had to kind of pitch this to the Sony executives in Japan. They had to go through some iterations to get them on board with the idea.
Okay. All right. I mean, they got there eventually.
Yes. So, size-wise, the Eastern Barred Bandicoot from head to body is 340 millimeters, or about 13 inches. And their tail is about 100 millimeters, or 4 inches. So, what these guys look like, they do kind of look like rodents, but they're not rodents. They're actually marsupials.
Ah, mine is also looks like a rodent, but isn't a rodent.
Right. But they have little shrew-like faces, and they have long ears. They aren't rabbit long.
Oh, sure.
I would say very long rodent-like ears.
Sure.
And they have this relatively short tail to the rest of their body. They have clawed feet that make them good at digging. They have like a brownish fur. And this species has light banding on the hindquarters, where it gets its name.
Stripes.
Yeah.
You see the same like pattern of having like stripes, but just on the like back butt area on, well, not anymore, but on the Tasmanian tiger, the thylacine.
Yes.
It's interesting that those two creatures would have such similar like coloration and pattern.
Also a marsupial, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But the thylacine was like a marsupial that very heavily resembled canids.
Yes. So where you'll find these is the island of Tasmania, which is a state of Australia, but also in the southeast part of Australia in Victoria, another state of Australia. Until very recently, you were only going to be finding them in Tasmania.
And Tasmania is an island?
Yes.
Okay.
It's an island off the southeast of Australia.
Okay, but they're also on the mainland then.
I'll talk more about this in conservation.
Okay.
But today, yes.
Okay.
Not too long ago, not so much.
Interesting. Okay.
But where you do find them, they're in grasslands and grassy woodlands with dense grass and shrub cover. They belong to the taxonomic family Paramelidae, the bandicoots, because there are several other species of bandicoots. So they're related to other marsupials, and they share the same order with bilbies.
But bilby!
Yes. So an animal I don't think we had heard of prior to that Bluey episode.
Correct. I had never heard of the bilby before. And I thought that, once again, that bilby was just like a cute little name they made up.
Right.
No, it is a real animal. But you know what? Since then, I have heard that bilbies are an Australian Easter mascot.
Really?
And that because bunnies are not native to Australia, they did not want to encourage people to import bunnies because they didn't want to like encourage an invasive species. So Easter decorations and Easter like things in Australia will feature bilbies instead of bunnies.
Okay. Interesting.
Which, yeah, I know. I learned all that after finding out what a bilby was on Bluey. Learn something new every day.
Yes. So the name bandicoot, by the way, comes from a type of rat in India, the bandicoot rat. No relationship whatsoever. Okay. I guess someone just thought they kind of looked similar.
Oh, we love it when English speakers just name things whatever.
Yep. So to jump into our categories. First, effectiveness. I'm also giving an 8 out of 10 for effectiveness. So first, they have a high reproduction rate.
Good for them.
Female could produce nearly 16 young in one breeding season.
Ooh.
Yes.
That's a lot.
But it's a good thing they have that because they also have a high mortality rate.
Okay.
They have a lifespan of less than 3 years.
Oh, man.
Unfortunately, they're susceptible to introduced predators like cats, dogs, and foxes.
Oh, okay. So those are all things that are like not native
Yes.
to Australia.
Which I did not know Australia did not natively have foxes, but I guess that makes sense.
Yeah. Foxes have definitely been introduced into a lot of places that they didn't originally belong.
Yeah, I'm guessing because of the fur trade. Also, they can catch toxoplasmosis from cats,
Ugh.
which
the
is
worst.
often fatal for them.
See, this is another reason to keep your cats inside,
Yes.
basically. Keep your cats inside. It's not just about your cat being safe. It's
Right.
about the havoc that your cat can wreak on the local ecosystem.
Yeah, it's bad.
Not just even when people are like, oh, my cat doesn't catch anything. My cat doesn't hunt. My cat doesn't kill birds or kill anything here. It's like, well, cat can still spread diseases that local wildlife might not be immune to. And so it's still keep your cats inside.
One message I saw from a conservationist group in this area, they were saying, if your cat is an outside cat, at least put 2 bells on their collar.
Sure.
Because they can easily walk around without making a single bell chime. So the 2 bells is to help anything that they're stalking.
Maybe a whole jacket that's covered in bells.
Yeah.
At least 20 to 30 bells.
Just an LED disco ball. So yeah, they die a lot, which kind of leads to the conservation thing. But another positive thing is it actually does have to go fast.
Oh, this is real.
Yes. So in the game, Crash Bandicoot, his whole thing is spinning and jumping.
Yeah, what's that all about? Is this a thing real bandicoots do?
Spinning, no. Jumping, yes.
Oh, good. Okay.
Because the real one can jump a distance of 1 meter.
Whoa.
That's a long way for something that's like 1 foot long.
Yes, for a little guy. I mean, does he have rabbit feet?
They do kind of look like rabbit feet, yes.
Okay, it's starting to come together.
They remind me of that desert mouse, the
kangaroo rat?
Yes, the kangaroo rat.
Yeah, okay.
They make me think of those.
This seems like Australia's rabbit, like a reskin, basically,
Sure.
of a marsupial version of a rabbit.
And I mentioned their claws. They use those to dig for food, which include things like grubs, beetles, earthworms, roots, and even berries.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good job. We love a fossorial creature.
Oh, yeah. And moving on to ingenuity, I'm giving a 6 out of 10. Much like the hedgehog, they're only social during mating. They're otherwise solo. They are nocturnal also.
Seeing a lot of similarities
Yes.
here. Which one of these designs came first?
The Sonic came first for sure.
Okay. All right.
They do make their own houses, basically.
Aw.
It's basically just, their dens are just like a small indention in the ground, and they pull a dome of grass over the top.
Like a little door.
Yeah.
It's like me on the first night when I'm playing Minecraft, and I don't have all the tools to make an actual house yet, so I just dig into the nearest hill and put a dirt patch over the front.
Basically, yeah. So it's not much, but it's home.
That's so relatable. Oh, I love that.
They will hiss at perceived dangers in addition to making other noises.
Good.
Yeah.
Does Crash Bandicoot hiss?
Crash Bandicoot is famously something of a mute character.
Really?
Other than yelling and screaming when doing certain things like dying and...
Okay, so Link.
Yeah.
Okay.
Similar to that. The lore in the video game is Crash started out as a regular Bandicoot, and Dr. I believe Cortex is the main baddie.
It's a great name.
Did science.
Did science to it.
It turned him into, what we know. And somewhere along the way...
Turned him into a horrible monster.
And then, so the game is a 3D platformer where you're jumping on boxes and spinning and punching enemies, running from boulders.
It's a very chaotic game as I remember it.
Yeah. You collect fruit. I thought they were mangoes, but they're not mangoes. They're a fictional fruit. I think Wampa fruit or what they call
Wampa fruit?
It's like a mix between an apple and a mango, and they're
Okay.
purple on the inside.
All right.
Yeah.
I guess they were like, I think Bandicoot is the only thing we're going to learn about Australia. I think we're not going to look any further into it. We're just going to make stuff up for the rest of it.
Yeah. So I mentioned it was something of a developmental thing for me because it was one of the first video games I played as a child.
Mm-hmm.
One of, if not the first.
Okay.
Yeah. And I remember having great difficulty with it. And one of my learning moment I had was my dad basically saying, "Oh, just keep trying. You'll get better every time."
Aww. Okay, so there was some formative experiences being brought by Crash Bandicoot.
Yes.
Okay. All right. How sweet.
Moving on to aesthetics. I'm giving a 9 out of 10. I think they're very cute.
They are extremely cute.
Mm-hmm. That's what I have right here. Actually, in my notes, extremely cute.
Is it in all caps? Because I said it. The way I said it was in all caps, actually.
No.
Can you actually edit that real quick?
Nope.
Can you?
So I mentioned those white bands on their hindquarters. Those are cute. They're long ears and nose. They have legs like a desert mouse.
Mm-hmm.
And the small tail is a little odd for their overall design. You would expect a longer tail for the otherwise body, but...
You mentioned that they live in areas with a lot of long grass.
Yes.
So I'd imagine those long stripes would help them blend in with the grass too.
That's a good assumption.
You see that with like a lot of animals that live in grassy areas will have these like high contrasting stripes because it helps them blend in.
Yep.
I think the bandicoot is one of the creatures that has been mistaken on camera traps for thylacine sightings. Every once in a while you'll hear someone pop up and say, "My camera trap caught a thylacine sighting." The last one was like a patamelon, which is another little marsupial that lives around there.
Is that like a small kangaroo?
It's more similar to a kangaroo.
Okay.
But the idea is that a lot of people believe there to still be some thylacines out there.
I could see the appeal as it being a cryptid. There aren't many animals that large that have gone extinct in modern times, right?
Right. And it was extremely, in the grand scheme of things, this was extremely recently that it went extinct.
Right.
As in, like, we have video footage of thylacines. Like, they went extinct within the last 100 years, I want to say.
Yeah.
And so with it being so recent, it's easy to hold out hope that they're still out there.
Mm-hmm. So speaking of conservation topics.
Yes, please.
There's been a lot of very recent developments with this species.
Oh, wow.
So the last IUCN assessment was from 2014. So as a species, they're considered vulnerable, decreasing at that time. However, there are 2 subspecies. So there's the Victorian subspecies or mainland and the Tasmanian subspecies. So until very recently, the mainland subspecies was considered extinct in the wild.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Huh. The mainland one?
Yes. Whereas Tasmania have been in a better position. That subspecies hasn't been accurately assessed, but they're thought to be doing good.
You mentioned that a big threat to them was...
introduced predators.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you've got invasive species, I don't think Tasmania is as affected by invasive species.
They've been doing a better job of that, and they're more isolated from the mainland.
So I guess it makes a lot of sense that the bandicoots would be doing way better on the island than they would be on mainland.
So that was until very recently. And that declaration of being extinct in the wild came in 2013. However, they were downgraded to endangered in 2021.
What? Okay. What was the development there?
It was the efforts done by the Zoos Victoria organization.
Nice.
Yes.
Good job, folks.
So they did lots of efforts to bring back that population, keeping them in reserves that are designed to keep out predators.
Oh, good idea. Yeah, sure.
And it's very interesting. I encourage anyone interested to go to their website and learn more about it, zoo.org.au. And it's, I think, 3 different zoos in the state of Victoria in Australia that are part of that organization.
That's very interesting, though, like that they were able to put in such effort to like, you don't often see that, like a population being able to recover from being extinct in the wild.
I think their reproduction rate had something to do with it. So they did bounce back. There's a bit of a concern with genetic diversity because they did come back from a population of like 40 or 50 individuals.
Yeah, you're going to get some bottlenecking there. Yeah. And then I guess they would also have to come back from the Tasmanian population, right? So like that's a different subspecies, like you mentioned. Well,
so when they were declared extinct in the wild, they still had individuals in zoos and such. So it was those populations that they used.
Oh, okay. So they didn't just bring them over from Tasmania. Right. They used the ones they already had.
Yeah, still separate.
Oh, that's
populations.
That's really interesting. That's A lot of times when you're trying to explain the purpose of zoos or the usefulness of zoos, like as a concept, basically, like these conservation success stories of like, that's not the only time that an animal has gone extinct and then been revived because there were captive populations of those animals. I think it's the oryx that went extinct and they were able to bring them back.
Yeah.
There have been multiple cases of this happening where like zoos were able to help an animal basically come back from the dead. Of course, now I will say, yes, the people did bring them back from extinction, but the people also put them in the extinction place in the first place.
Sure, yeah.
So it's kind of just righting a wrong, but good on them for putting that work in. It's not the same people righting the wrong as the ones that committed the wrong. So, I mean, props to them for doing that, for stepping up and doing that work.
Yep. And I got to read more about Tasmania in terms of its natural history and also some cultural stuff. It seems very interesting and a nice ecological tourism place.
I'd love to go to Tasmania.
Yeah.
If anybody listening is from Tasmania, reach out. Give us some tips. Good job, babe.
Thanks.
I like this creature. Like I said, it was embarrassingly recently that I found out the Bandicoot is not just something that they made up.
It's also somewhat worth mentioning that while Crash Bandicoot started out as a Sony exclusive, it has since branched out to other consoles.
Yeah,
platforms.
that cross-platform element is a crucial one we really got to get out there. They remade the original game recently, right?
They did. I think it was a couple of the original games. I don't know. I haven't really kept up with it since that first game.
I have a very faint memory of playing a Crash Bandicoot game on the Xbox. I didn't care for it. I got the vibe that I was not the intended gamer for that particular style of game.
I think they had their own Mario Kart-esque type game at one point.
Yeah, there was a racing game, I'm sure. Yeah. I was definitely not a Crash Bandicoot kid. I was a Sonic kid, but you were not a Sonic kid and decisively a Crash Bandicoot kid. So
yeah, I didn't have a Sega anything.
Neither did I. I had a GameCube.
Oh, that's right. It was on the GameCube by the time.
Yeah. Well, folks listening, let us know if you were a Sonic kid or a Crash kid.
Yeah.
We'd love to hear from y'all. That being said, thank you all so much for listening and spending your time with us here today. We have had a lot of fun. You can connect with us. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Just search our name. We have a really fun Discord server where people in the Discord have been, first of all, sharing absolutely wonderful things like pictures of animals you see around or pictures of your pets or just chatting. Like it's so fun. Everyone's so nice. But also I've been playing through Pokemon Pearl and people in Discord are helping me name my Pokemon, which has been really fun. So if you're interested in that, come check it out and hang out with us on Discord too. Thank you to Maximum Fun for having us on the network alongside your other wonderful shows. I've been listening to Ono, Ross, and Carrie a lot. I really like that show.
Awesome.
I listen to Ono, Ross, and Carrie like a lot. So check that one out if you like our show too. If you have an animal that you would like to hear us talk about, email it to me. My email address is ellen@justthezooofus.com. Thank you to Louis Zong for our theme music. It's beautiful and perfect in every way, just like you, dear listener. Thank you.
Thanks, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.
MaximumFun.org.
Comedy and culture.
Artist owned.
Audience supported.